There's a lot going on tonight. We've got some late-breaking news about former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn and the former acting Attorney General Sally Yates, who appears to have blown the whistle on him. That story may dominate tomorrow's news, particularly because FBI Director Jim Comey is going to be back on Capitol Hill testifying tomorrow in open session. Today, senators from the Intelligence Committee were bussed over to CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, to go look at classified information at CIA headquarters related to the Trump-Russia investigation. The senators would not say what they looked at, of course, because it was classified, but we did all get to see them get on the Scooby van and go over to Langley in their little, it's kind of cute. It's both stealth and adorable. How I think of the Senate Intelligence Committee. So that story, the Trump-Russia investigation, you should expect that that's going to get big again. That may blow up again over the next 24 hours or so, particularly with that Comey testimony tomorrow and what is breaking tonight on Flynn. So we've got the latest on that, including some absolutely hair-curling new reporting from USA Today. The reporter from the USA Today news scoop on that subject is with us tonight. In Washington, D.C. tonight, as we speak, the day's news is not yet over. We are on proverbial political death watch yet again tonight for the Republicans' continued efforts to kill the Affordable Care Act. Starting this morning, over the course of today into this evening, Republicans have been trying very hard to mount a third attempt at repealing Obamacare. Now, they are not even trying to get any Democratic votes. This is a 100% Republican effort in a Congress where they have Republican majorities in both houses of Congress. But nevertheless, it is starting to look tonight like their Repeal the Affordable Care Act effort is going to fail for a third straight time. It is not done yet, though, but it's not looking good for them. So all eyes are on that continuing effort tonight in Congress. An effort that, if it is successful, it will cause more than 20 million Americans to lose their health insurance. They want to try to get a vote on it tomorrow. They are reportedly twisting arms tonight. We've got eyes on Washington tonight, and we will have more on that ongoing story ahead this hour. But we're going to start tonight with something that, had you asked me this morning when I woke up what would be on tonight's show, I never in a million years would have guessed this. But this is just something I want you to see. I want you to experience this. I swear it's real. And I say that because for a big portion of the day after I heard about this today, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a prank. I did not believe it could have been real. But we have now confirmed that this is real. This really happened. We have the tape of it. I think ultimately, it's amazing just to experience it in the moment, but it's also kind of an incredible snapshot of what's really going on, nuts and bolts in American politics right now. American political reporting, Beltway media stuff tends to be really, really focused on what people say they are doing and what people say to reporters and how people describe their own aims and intentions. If you mute that and just watch what happens, you just watch what they do, sometimes you get a lot more insight into what they are capable of doing and what you should expect next. And boy, did we have a stark example of that today. And it's nothing that anybody said they were going to do. All right, here's the story. You know that on Friday, Congress reached a last-second deal to fund the federal government for a week to avoid a government shutdown on a minute after midnight on Friday night, which would have been the president's 100th day in office. Then over the weekend, they came up with a longer deal to keep the government funded until September. Now, that is generally good news for everybody who doesn't want the federal government to shut down. But that deal is a real thing. It's a specific thing. And as people started reading through the details of that deal, it became clear that the Republicans and the Trump administration didn't get the things they promised they were going to get out of that agreement. And the Democrats pretty much got everything they were insisting on. Now, we talked about this a little bit on the show last night. Some of these details have now become widely known. The Republicans did not kill the National Endowment for the Arts or the National Endowment for the Humanities, or the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, even though they said they would. They did not slash the Environmental Protection Agency by 30%, even though they said they would. EPA only gets a 1% cut. They did not kill federal funding for Planned Parenthood, even though they said they would kill federal funding for Planned Parenthood. They did not kill funding for sanctuary cities, even though they said they'd do that too. They clearly, obviously, did not get any money to build a freaking wall between us and Mexico. And on and on and on down the list. Exhaustively, actually, down the list. So by the time we were on the air last night talking about this development and funding the government, I think people broadly had started to figure out that this first big legislation of the Trump era, really the first significant legislation this president will sign, will be a checklist of what Democrats insisted on, and none of the things the Trump administration said they were going to force the Democrats to go along with. And it really is true, down the line, 100%. The only thing the Trump administration got part of that they wanted was increased military spending. And the Democrats weren't opposed to that. So this is a difficult thing from a political perspective, if you think about it from through the eyes of the Trump administration, right? After the 100 days benchmark, with all the media attention, all the political attention on that, all the attention the administration itself put on that benchmark, by the 100 days benchmark, by which the new president had passed zero major legislation, they pass this 100 days benchmark, and then they head into the next week. And you know, finally, what they do get some consequential legislation for the first time. They do finally get something for the president to sign, something major, and it is nothing that they wanted. Right? That is not the kind of press that they want right now. And at this point, the deal is done, and the next government shutdown will happen on Friday if they don't come up with a new deal. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much too late to change the deal. So what they decided today was that they wanted to change the press about the deal. They can't change the deal. Let's just change the way people are spinning this deal. Let's try to make ourselves sound better when it comes to this deal. I know we have to, let's sell this deal better. And that's where the tape comes in. So today, the administration decided they needed to change the spin. And they needed to change the story here, change the headlines, get some good press. And so they convened a big conference call with the Trump administration's new budget chief. It's him on this conference call with a whole bunch of experienced, top-tier national reporters. The whole idea was to change the spin, make it look more like a win for them. And it started off normal. This is what it sounded like before things went wrong.
I said yesterday in a briefing here in Washington that you know, the Dems were trying to take credit for a win. That's fine. That's understandable. I think in the last 24 hours, though, we've seen them try and take it someplace that is simply not sustainable, which is that they won and that we lost.
That's how the conference call began. You can hear beep, boop, boop, boop. That's people joining the call, or at that point, I think the way those tones go, those are people actually signing in. Those are people joining, getting on the call. And at that point, like, that's what you expect that call to be like. Don't believe these Democrats when they say they won anything here. Now we're going to explain our own new spin on it about how we won this. So that's how the call started. But then it took a very dramatic turn. It started off normal, like you just heard. But then this is what happened in real time. This is how reporters all over the country experienced the rest of the call as it was happening. Just listen.
This morning, the president on Twitter called for a government shutdown in September to try to fix this mess. Can you please address those comments? Do you think a shutdown will be necessary later this year to get the budget system fixed?
Well, again, right now I'm not worried about September. I'm worried about this deal that's in front of us. But I think the president's tweet was that we might need a shutdown at some point to drive home that this place, that Washington needs to be fixed. I think that's a defensible position, one we'll deal with in September. The truth of the matter, though, is now we've averted the government shutdown in a way that that allows the president to fund his priorities. By the way, for those of you who have put us back on hold, if you could mute your phones, that would be really great. I enjoy the classical music. I do. All right. Hold on a second. Is there a way to... Oh. All right. Let's try this. Who would like to ask a question? This is going to be a disaster.
Doug Obey with Inside EPA. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned that the Democrats didn't get renewable energy subsidies. Which subsidies are we talking about here?
They had asked for new subsidies I think, on renewables, and we
Hello? You're breaking up. Hello?
Got another question here from the AP. Is anyone still there?
Yeah, the audio's breaking up.
real stellar control of the White House.
Chief phone's muted. Is there anybody left there?
The person just screamed, "This is unbelievable!"
There needs to be a better system than this. This does not work very well.
Is the music changing? Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Your conference is ending now. As requested by the host, please hang up.
That's the end of it. That's how it ends. As requested by your host, your conference call is ending now. Click. Like the most merciful please hang up in politics ever. The amazing thing was like the 3 different versions of the song, and like each of them louder. We did not adjust the volume of that at all. All we did was put the subtitles up so you could hear people laughing and screaming, "This is incredible!" and all the other things they were saying. But that volume was actually how people experienced it. That was what the White House did today. That was the Trump administration today. This was the White House. This was the President of the United States of America using all the powers of the federal government to try to respin the disastrously bad press they're getting about the first significant legislation that the new president will sign. Right? And that's the budget director on the phone with all those reporters when that happened. You can kind of imagine the Trump budget director on his end of the line being like, "This is not what I signed up for. This is not what they told me to expect. Is this background music coming from us?" So after starting the day with that, which really happened, they then decided to take a second crack at it. They decided they would give the budget guy a second chance to try to respin this story. This time, no calls, no technology. We'll do it live. They put him at the podium at the regular press briefing, where they gave him pictures to illustrate the border wall he insisted will get built, even though the president didn't get the money from Congress, and even though when he pointed at them, the pictures disappeared while he was talking about them. No, you can't even do pictures. Oh, there they are back again. So this was at the regular press briefing today. This is their second crack at it for the administration. And then look at how that briefing ended.
Will you guys just email where that wall is from exactly so we can identify location? Appreciate it.
Sean,
thanks so much.
Sean, come on, Sean.
Sean, wait a minute.
What about the Putin call?
Sean,
Where'd Sean go?
Away. He just. Wait a minute, sit right here, wait. Just sit, let's sit, sit. No one leave, sit, wait, let's see. Sit and wait, let's see.
he said he's not coming back. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. He's not coming back.
No, he will come back, let's sit here and wait.
No, he'll come back. Let's sit here and wait. What about the Putin call? Let's sit here and wait. April Ryan is like, you guys, let's sit here and wait. No, Peter Alexander's like, no, he's not. I just checked, he's not coming back. Everybody's like, that cannot be. This is the White House press. This is what they're doing to us at the White House press briefing? He's just getting up and walking out and not answering. They convened a press briefing, and now they're not taking any questions, and there will be no speaking? Peter Alexander's like, yeah, he just bailed. He's not coming. That was the White House today. No questions, no follow-ups. Sit there and wait all you want. The new president is going to sign his first big thing since he's been president, and we're having a hard time talking about it. So I just wanted you to see that. There's a lot to get to tonight. There's a lot that's going on in Washington. But one thing to know about today's news is there was something wrong with the background music today. Where's that coming from? This did not work today. You guys, come on.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.